2025 Goshen Board of Education meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Schinkel, can you please call the roll?
Mr. West.
Present.
Mrs. Werke.
Here.
Mr. Paprocki.
Here.
Mr. Rivera.
Here.
Mrs. Gray.
Here. Thank you. For agenda approval, I'd actually like to make a motion to amend the proposed March agenda to add Board of Education Policy Education to old business, item B.
Need a second?
Yes, do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
What is it? What was it again? I'm sorry.
Board of Education policy, just education about our policy and some things that we received last month.
Okay.
And that's.
Old business, item B.
Okay.
Mr. Schinkel, can you please call the roll?
Mr. West.
Yes.
Mrs. Werke.
Yes.
Mrs. Paprocki.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Mrs. Gray.
Yes. Thank you. I'd like to call for a moment of silence and ask that we consider the importance of unity within our community in the space of safety and peace for our children. Thank you. Please stand while Mark Coach Principal Stevens leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Stevens, going to introduce us to the achievement.
Yes, we're very excited to be here. We always love coming to spend time with you, and we'll try to be really short today because we always are really excited and we like to show what we're doing. Thanks for having us tonight. And I'm very excited as the building principal to have the opportunity to showcase the wonderful math instruction that's taking place every day at Marcook Elementary. I take extreme pride in the fact that we have a very caring and dedicated staff who work diligently to learn all of the best ways to instruct our students in math through the use of our math fidelity model and also through the use of our many opportunities that we have to receive math coaching from our representative, Ann Berger from Hamilton County's Educational Service Center. I'm very proud to share some data with you tonight that you will be able to see that highlights our brand new math target time. This is brand new to our school schedule this year. We're very excited about it. We are going to keep working with it next year. We've got a lot of great data, a lot of growth for kids, and they're going to be able to show you today some of their work in the target time and in the core classroom. And we want to also highlight one of our kindergarten teachers who's going to be up here in a little bit, Mrs. Kim Haas, and her students. And we want to give them this opportunity to showcase this hands-on learning. They have 40 minutes every day in their target time for this instruction. And we are so excited for the kind and generous donation from the Goshen Education Foundation for these math kits. So, Mrs. Kim Haas, Kim, if you'll stand up there for me, please, has been teaching 27 years, all as a kindergarten teacher at Marcook Elementary, which is absolutely amazing. I think that's awesome. Let's give her a round of applause. For the years that she spent here, she is a wonderful teacher. She has touched so many little lives. If you think about that in 27 years, it's amazing. She graduated from Goshen. She raised her family here, and she is so very proud to be a Goshen warrior. When I asked her, why kindergarten? Because sometimes teachers change grade levels, right? She's always been in kindergarten. She responded, they have such a joy of learning, and I love seeing it every single day. It makes her happy. She's very passionate about math. And that today, she's finding a lot to do some hands-on learning for kids so that students at this very small age of 5 and 6 years old are able to gain these concepts and learn those. She states that being able to do interventions in math, which is our target time in small group, has been absolutely amazing this year. And she's very excited to see the difference that we're making as we continue to develop this math target time. So this is what we are very excited to show you today. I'll take the next slide, please. So our target time at math at Marcook Elementary, a lot of different things here. We have always had for years ELA target time, where it has been literacy-based, and it's every single day, Monday through Friday. And after speaking with Ashley Andrews, Becca Spalding, and just talking with her about math in general, we realized that we had a need to add some additional math time for our students because we had not had targeted intervention. So this is brand new to our schedule this year. I'm going to share with you some of this great growth that kids are making. The ELA target time basically just says here that we take these MTSS meetings. I'm going to show you a spreadsheet about those, but we use a lot of the data and the benchmarks for MAP testing and also Arcadian's testing and progress monitoring. And in addition to what teachers tell us about students during these meetings that happen about every 6 to 8 weeks. And then we target these individual instruction for children. And our students for ELA have been going to Title or Project More for their Tier 2 targeted intervention. And other students are basically sorted to the other teachers for ELA in order to work on certain skills. And so, like I said, we decided that we weren't really touching the math and we needed to. And so this year, what we decided to do was take our kindergarten students, which are here tonight, and our first grade students and give them ELA targeted time on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays during the week. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, they go to a math targeted intervention. And like I said, this is brand new this year. So that happens at least for our kindergarten and our first grade students, targeted math intervention 2 days a week. Whereas in second grade, they team teach there. So there's an ELA teacher and a math teacher. Our second grade students are all getting, depending on enrichment or what have you, either 5 days of targeted math or 5 days of targeted ELA intervention. And that targeted can be something that students need to really work on. We also have a challenge group. So we are pushing kids higher and making sure that they're continuously performing at higher levels. Okay. I want to give this to you. It's kind of hard to see, but if you will pass that down, that gives you kind of a breakdown here. I know it's a small print there, but this is our fall data, basically from our kindergarten and overall first grade and second grade based on the math. And I'm so excited because this is the biggest piece right here. We had 316 students in the fall that received math target times, whether it was 2 days a week or 5 days a week. 289 of those students made growth. That's 91% of our students. So this is really amazing data. We're very excited to share it with you. We would absolutely love to have 5 days a week of math intervention so that we can push these kids forward and get them ready by the time they get to school for that third grade reading guarantee. So it just kind of breaks it down there for you so that you can see in kindergarten. We had 88% of our students make growth and our targeted times from 110 to 150. And then our second target time was from 150 to 230. We had 86%. I mean, the numbers don't lie. I don't want to read all those to you, but it's so exciting. First grade, 93%. And in our second targeted group, 97% of students were making growth. And then here in second grade, look at those numbers. 100% of students made their growth. And then 76% or in the enrichment group, 7%. So it shows you there that we have an enrichment where we're pushing kids. And those kids that are in that enrichment are the ones that are doing really well at ELA. So because they're doing so well at reading, why not give them some math? So we push them in the math so that they're getting something on that enrichment piece so that they're growing and showing growth. This is just a snapshot. That's hard to read, I know, but of what our spreadsheets look like whenever we have our 5 to 8 weeks of MTSS data. We sit down with teachers. We take a look at kids that are in their top, this is ELA, Title and Project More groups, and then the bottom is the math intervention group. And the teachers really take the autonomy on that piece to determine what they want to teach. So if a teacher really is excited about teaching the enrichment part and they really want to go forward with that, they're the ones that volunteer to take those kids. And we're taking a look at a lot of Acadians and composite scores in order to group these kids, which is their overall, whenever we benchmark kids, in order to place them into groups. So these groups are always fluid. So every 5 to 8 weeks, their kids are moving around, right? So they're always continually growing. So I'd like to tie this back into our portrait of a graduate, which I know you've seen this a lot. Our mission, as I said before, is to make sure that kids are continuously performing at higher levels, which I think you can see there with math, that's definitely happening. Our model really does just this, I think, together. We make sure that our kids are fearless learners. I mean, if you really look at that fearless learner piece, they're filling and checking out all of the boxes in that, right? They're being creative, critical thinking. They are showing problem solving, which I know Mrs. Haas is going to be showing that with you in these math kits here in a few minutes, and becoming fearless learners as well. And they're also incorporating, you'll see this as well, some other cross-curricular activities. So she's got them writing some math, doing writing and journaling and those types of things at this very young age, as 5 and 6 years old. So very, very excited about it. All right, I am going to stop talking and I'm going to turn this over to the real stars of the show, which would be my kindergarten friends. You guys have been so patient. Thank you so much. And your teacher, Mrs. Haas. So let's give them all a round of applause.
We talked earlier, we should.
Oh, yeah, there aren't they? That's okay. Okay, before we get started, I just want to say, tout again, the amazing math toolkits that our Education Foundation provided funding for. All of the math materials in the toolkits, we're very fortunate to have them already. You know, in my classroom, I've had these things for years, but logistically getting them into the kids' hands was very time consuming. And so I really wanted to make a kit for them that could just be ready to pull and go, and makes it so much more engaging for them to do hands-on learning. They're learning responsibility because they have to keep track of their toolkit. It's theirs for the whole year. And lets me do more hands-on lessons, which really goes a long way in making such abstract concepts more meaningful to them. So this is a picture of the kids in my class. One day we just had toolkit free time. And so everybody got to pick out what they wanted to play with. And you can see they're all picking different things and they love it. So definitely math toolkit free choice days are big hit. All right, so you guys just practice this out there with me, right? In Mrs. Haas's class, we say, what do readers do?
Read.
They read. What do writers do?
Write.
So can you guess what mathers do?
Do math.
They do math. Let's do some math. So can we switch it to the next slide? Okay, so as Mrs. Stevens mentioned, I try to do some cross-curricular connections. And so we have Adelaide's journal entry up there on the right side. So Adelaide, with a really loud voice, can you read what you said you like about math?
I like math because I like the numbers.
The numbers. All right. Do you want to tell them a little bit about your picture? What are all those different color boxes up there?
They're the math.
Those are the maths in our room that you saw in the picture. And then what about this?
The T, that is the number, right?
Numbers to 10. And what about these numbers?
Numbers to 100 by 10.
Counting by tens to 100. Yeah. Okay. And Adelaide, just really quick, can you tell us what is your favorite tool in your math toolkit?
Oh my God, my cube sticks.
Do you want to show them which one that is? They don't know. It's been a long time since they were in kindergarten.
Very long time.
Okay. And what do you like about those?
Because we can count numbers with them.
Count numbers with them. Okay. Thank you, Adelaide. Great. So Martin is going to show us how we use our math toolkits with our team numbers. So Martin, could you get out your tools that you need and show me number 14? You guys are doing such a good job of being patient. Thank you. You're doing good. All right, show me 14. So how did you represent 14 on there, Martin?
10 4
10,
plus 4.
10 plus 4. All right, so I know it's hard for you guys to see it, but he has got a 10 frame, 2 10 frames. And he's got 10 in the top one and 4 in the bottom one. So, all right, so Martin, can you show us 16? Okay, so I don't know, you guys could see it, you guys couldn't. He just added 2 more to his 14. Amazing, that right there. Shalee mentioned our math coach, Mrs. Berger from HCESC. I was just in a class with her last week and learned that's called hierarchical inclusion when they get that there's a 14 nested inside of 16 or, an 8 nested inside of 10. Big fancy word, hierarchical inclusion, and Martin has it. I could make it up. Okay, Martin, can you put your things back in your toolkit? And I'm gonna borrow Amy's eraser real quick. All right, and then Hadley, you have a math game that we played. So Hadley's got a number board from 0 to 100. Our standard is that they be able to count to 100 and also be able to count on from any given number to 100. So not necessarily starting at 1 all the time. So we had this game that we play. So Hadley, can you get out which tool did we need for that? All right, and can you tell us what would you do next when it's your turn in that game? Okay, go ahead, roll the dice. And then what do you do? Okay, go ahead. So she's just coloring the next 4 boxes up there. And then what do you do? Okay, can you say them really loud?
76, 77, 78, 79.
What do you think, Adelaide? Did she get them correct? Yeah, awesome. So that was a partner game. And they just each took turns rolling the dice, coloring, that many boxes and then naming their numbers, and they checked one another. So tell us, Adelaide, what was your math thinking in that activity? Not Adelaide, Hadley. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong kid. Hadley, what was your math thinking for that activity? Saying the numbers. Yeah. All right. So these are all kids from my homeroom class. So this is my tier 1 math instruction. I get to have Remy in my target time math. So I'm going to give you this, Remy, and I'm going to tell them real quick about our book that we read. Is that okay? So we read this book called Mouse Count, and we found out that the mouse was always hungry for more. He was a very greedy mouse. So he always wanted more, very greedy snake. He always wanted more and more and more. So Remy, are you ready to show them some of our math thinking that we did? Okay, so Snake had 5 mice in the jar. So he's representing it with little counting cubes. But what did the snake say? 5's not enough. I need one more. All right, can you write an equation to represent for us what Snake has in his jar now? I'm gonna show him what you wrote. So he got it. 5 plus 1 is 6. Erase that for me. So we did with my target time group, then we made a chart of what we found, how many mice in the jar, and when we added 1 more, and we were noticing patterns up there, and we noticed that every time we were adding 1 more, and that when we did that, this is the kids, this is what they told me, the pink part down there. Now we added 1 more each time, and then when we do that, then the sums went in counting order. So then we figured out that when you're adding plus 1, it's going to be the next counting order number, which is an addition strategy. So that was our math thinking there. So Remy, can I ask you one? I know you already put your tools away, but could I ask you one more? Okay. What if Snake had 7 mice in his jar? And he said, 7's not enough. I need 1 more. How many would it be? 8. 8. even neatest stuff. All right. So, thank you so much for letting us come and present our math and our families, for bringing the kids to share. I'm excited for all the growth that we are seeing and can't wait to see what else they do. I love our math target time, and I think it's going to be a very powerful piece of instruction, and we're just getting started with that. So, thank you.
Yeah.
I give the kids some certificates here, but if you think about kindergarten, go back to kindergarten, I can't remember the kindergarten year, but I can remember my kindergarten teacher. And I'm sure that all those kids that we talked about earlier remember Mrs. Haas and other teachers, but you know, as you think about, they make it look so easy. Shalee puts the chart up there of what the teachers are breaking down kids and looking at kids individually to make sure that we're providing them individual instruction, whether it be enrichment or intervention. That's what's special about this group of teachers. And to say we've had the pushes at the state level for early literacy, and you know, we've done an incredible job with Mark Cook with that, but they acknowledge, and looking at that we need to push kids in math now, and that's what this is. And that's, you know, preparing them so when they jump to Spalding, they're ready to go, hit the ground running, and we can't do it without our teachers. And these kids, because you guys are awesome. That was not easy to do, and I do appreciate you doing it. We have a certificate for each of you that I'm going to give you. And in the top corner, it's got a Goshen pen, little G pen for doing extra things that maybe your classmates didn't do, like coming in and talking to a big group of adults today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call your name. You're going to come get your certificate, and then you're going to tell me who you brought with you tonight. So I need you to talk one more time. So you need to tell me who you brought with you. Can you guys do that? All right. So we're going to start with Hadley. Hadley, come on up. Shake your hand too. You got to turn around and say hi. Thank you for being here.
And by the way, that's how old I am. Yeah.
There you go. And then Martin. Certificate in your pen, and then turn around and tell us who you brought with you.
My mom and dad.
Thanks for coming. Remington or Remy, is that what we?
Remy. Yeah.
Good job, man. Certificate, your pen in the top corner, and then who you bring with you tonight?
I brought my baby sister, my dad, and my mom.
No baby sister and mom.
Baby sister.
That's Adelaide.
I brought my cousin and my cousin cat.
Her mommy's on FaceTime.
Mommy's on
at the
FaceTime.
hospital.
She's in the hospital with
So,
Sissy.
yeah.
And then we can't do it without you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, do you guys know who I was in kindergarten with?
Great job.
Come on. Let me see. My favorite.
We have one more community piece that we'd like to cover, and then we will release you guys if you'd like to, but feel free to exit if you have little ones as well. We'd like to welcome Chelsea Hornsby from Goshen Education Foundation and to share an update.
I don't know how to follow that, Adam. That's right there. The mission of the Goshen Education Foundation is to supplement and enhance and provide educational materials for those of the school district. And I think you got to see that firsthand. So thanks for teeing that up perfectly, Brian. That was a great segue. So you'll see our impact report here for 2024. And what's really exciting about that is our foundation has gifted nearly $100,000. And we're split into three main buckets. One, student scholarships, the second being teacher grants, and the third being school initiatives. And through that, it's pretty exciting to see the growth since the inception in 2016 of the foundation. What's really exciting and what's to come this year is I
had the opportunity to stand up here last year and talk about the growth of the foundation, and really excited to talk more about that growth. So this year, thanks to the Stiles and Sons, we are going to be offering a blue collar scholarship in the amount of $2,500. And that could be anybody that's going to cosmetology school, someone's going to go to school to be a mechanic, construction, you know, kind of the outside of the box of a traditional kiddo going to college. So thank you to Danielle Stiles and Brian. It's really exciting to have you guys part of the district and alumni, and also giving back to the Education Foundation. So thank you. Also, last year, we gifted 3 $1,000 student scholarships, and I'm really excited to share that this year we're gifting 3 $2,000 scholarships, so doubling the amount. We recognize the expense of college and really want to give back to the kiddos. Again, that's one of our main pillars. And in this school year, 24-25, we gifted over $6,000 to our teachers. So Mrs. Haas is a great example. Kim, I think that you probably received a GES scholarship every year since we've been inception in 2016.
3 times.
3? Okay, all right. So if it wasn't for our teachers, you know, we would not be able to have such incredible and intelligent warriors going out into the community that we have today. And I'm telling you, I think what our teachers do too is thinking outside the box to be creative and engaging. What our educators are doing just is beyond words, right? I think even when I first heard about flexible seating, I'm like, where was that when little ADHD Chelsea was in class? Because I really could have used one of those bouncy ball chairs. Probably still wouldn't have helped my focus. But I think our educators are truly the backbone, which we all know that, just really helping to bring new ideas to the district. So I really appreciate all of that you guys do. Ways to support the Education Foundation. We are teaming up with the alumni on March 29th for a red and gray soiree. So we're tracking a little bit behind in ticket sales. So if you're able to attend, please attend. We also have a grand raffle happening out there as well. So information can be found on the Education Foundation Facebook page and alumni. And a golf outing, that's pretty awesome. It's July 25th, and you can't miss that. It's an incredible event that we have. Deborah chairs the event, and it is a constant sell every single year. And we are moving forward this year with our Boots, Bourbon, and Barbecue event. So we did have to postpone that from last year. It is set for October the 4th. Information will be coming out about that. The Richard Lynch Band will be there. We'll have live music and a great time. It'll be at the property of Mr. Kevin Maylock. So looking forward to that. Something new that we are introducing this year is the Warrior Community Award, really recognizing a few folks who, the foundation wouldn't exist without them. So one is Jeff Garr. So Jeff really went to Daryl Edwards and to Todd and the administrative team and talked about bringing an education foundation to the district. So again, we started in 2016, and we would not be here without Jeff's hard work and, talking to other school districts, and of course, Daryl's $100 and Todd's $100 for those initial deposits. But here we are giving back almost $100,000 this year. So
We should note that Todd's personal $100, not the school.
yes, Todd's personal. I'm sure we have copies of the checks too. So yes, very important piece of that. So just some really great highlights from the Education Foundation. So really excited for what this year is going to bring. We're really going to be focused on launching a campaign in the next coming year. Also, we kicked off the George Rice football field initiative as well. So that's going well. Raised a little under $4,000 so far. And we're tracking on target for that, and we'll meet and exceed that goal. So happy to answer any questions you guys might have. It's really nice outside, so I'll be really quick. All right, well, thank you again for your time and allowing us to kind of come in and share about the Goshen Education Foundation.
I know it goes without saying, they are a huge support. Teachers take time to write the grant and really start to think about, what can I get for my classroom this year that would be new and improved, and with the help of the association or the foundation, they're able to make that come to life. And then, the scholarships and that are life-changing for kids. So, and the initiatives on campus, the signboard out front, you name it, the different pieces that they've done. And I know if I went with an ask, they'll find a way to do it. Just a special group of people working for our community and for our kids and staff. So we appreciate all you guys do. And support the red and gray soiree if you can do it, because it is a great night.
I think something else they do really well is partner with our other organizations.
Yes.
So we have a flag in the gym where they partnered with PTO and constantly partnering with the Alumni Association. So a lot of great people just doing big work. So.
And the boosters for the golf outing. And,
Yep.
yeah.
So great job, Education Foundation. So this is the time in the meeting that we always say for those who don't want to remain for the rest of the business, you are more than welcome to leave, but we'd love for you to stay as well. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the weather. All right, thank you. Moving on to old business, item A. Mr. Bailey, do you have an update on the master facility?
I do. So I'm just going to start with we did phase one, and I sent this to you guys. We met with SHP last week, and they gave us some of the results. If you remember, they were at our State of the Schools night and had a survey there that they were doing. We pushed the survey out a little bit on my newsletter. Little bit, it's a 1 minute survey. It gives us good feedback. I think I'll show you here in a minute kind of the feedback we got, but it helps us kind of kickstart that thought of we're going to be asking some questions of the community, because this is, again, the master facility piece is not what we think education needs to be in the community, but what our community thinks of our schools, and also how we move forward, whether it be growth in the district or just with education evolving. So real quick, when we had 122 starts, 92 submitted the full 1 minute survey. We had some students take it, some staff take it, some community, and some parents. So it was kind of a mixed bag there. These were simple questions just to kind of get some thought going. Ask what building they're affiliated with, kind of a split there. Probably high school and middle school had a little bit more participation that night because of some of the clubs and activities that we had at State of our school, so a little heavier on the secondary end. We asked them, what is your preferred method of communication? And this one surprised me a little bit, but it does allow us as a school district to think about when we're putting out information, we're doing it on all these platforms. And 100 or 90 something people say their top way of getting information is text and email. So it's good to see. Secondly, how well do you feel our district communicates? And this, I think, with that, a majority of the people saying very well, or rating scale of 1 to 5, 80 something percent saying that we're, I guess 3 would be average, but 80 something percent of the people saying that we're, communicating effectively or well is good to see. How informed you are about the impacts of our growing district? We had, quite a few people, 50% of the people said they're aware of the impacts, down to just a few that were uninformed about the impacts of our growing district. And then how would you rate the condition of Goshen school buildings? I think each time we've talked, we try to upkeep the buildings, make sure that they look as new as the day they were built, but that gets harder and harder. Obviously, you see a little bit of a difference, a little swing here in the condition of the buildings, and a little bit of a concern, I would say. Still at 3 to 5, they're in good shape, but not as many people saying, wow, these things are incredible, a 5. And then, so we met with them, kind of went through this. I will say, a lot of our conversation that day was, how do we get more people participating in the survey? Now, State of the Schools night was one thing. If you were there, you were to take it. My kind of thing was I embedded it in a couple of my Friday newsletters to parents. It wasn't a standalone, like, I see it, I'm going to do it. We did not do it that way. But I think what came out of it is, in this, remember, we're doing phases here right now. In phase 1, I think they would like to do a larger community survey that's more forward facing. We're going to be working with them to build that. After we do that piece of it, we'll set up some listening sessions to gather a little bit more detailed feedback on that survey. And then they're kind of collecting some addition or existing building documentation. And then they really talked about branding this process. So that people know when we're talking about it, what this branding looks like. So a lot of this was getting our input. It was the administrative team, Todd, myself, central office, Mr. Dubs, Mark Schlegel, Troy, just trying to get an idea with Melinda's assistance as well, where we're at with some of this thinking. They've already got the job. And the one thing that was good to hear, they looked at, and they've been doing a lot of research on this. They say, people do not know what you guys are accomplishing at Goshen Local Schools. They have no idea. They wanted to start trying to brand it the gem of Claremont County or something along those lines.
I like it. That's accurate.
It's something in there, it's, and our schools we're doing an incredible job with, however it be state funding, the different pushes that are put on us at the state level that we put on ourselves to make sure that we're exceeding. We're continuing to forward think, and I think that's the thing that excites them the most about working with us is that we do continue to try to forward think and think what's next. How can we improve? We just don't sit stagnant. You see that today, Mark Cook talking about math. You don't sit stagnant. And it kind of felt, I said it at one point, they said, you need to show this so people outside of the community know how you compare to Milford and these other places. And, my answer was, I don't like to compare. I don't like to say, Goshen's, but all public schools in Southwest Ohio are incredible. We've got a lot of hardworking teachers, got a lot of hardworking administrators that are daily doing the best they can for kids. And if you're doing that, you're doing the right thing. So yes, what I like to say, I do have to walk into county superintendent meetings.
I'll talk trash if you want me to talk trash.
We can talk trash, yes. I do it. I just don't put it out like that. But, that's kind of that's the educator in most of us. We just want to focus on the kids here and what's going on here and leave that outside world to other districts to figure out. But they're truly impressed with what we're doing. I don't know, it was kind of they said you don't take compliments about well. It's like, we'll take it. But we're going to continue to evolve because we don't have it perfect. So the second phase of this is our retreat. And we started to plan the retreat with them, what the morning's going to look like. It's going to be a lot of educational visioning, a lot of interactive time with you guys as a board. They would like the principals there to join us for that in the central office team so that we can kind of vision together. It'll be a mini process of what they're then going to do with our community, our student team, and our teacher teams. Right now, we're kind of working on setting some dates for that. They understand where we're at in the process. The spring of a school season is crazy, from state testing to graduation to, transition of buildings. And so we're kind of fleshing that out where we may do a community piece here in the spring and then get with our teachers and students and revisit that community team in the fall of next year to do this educational vision. What do we want? What does teaching and learning look like? So they've got we're just kind of starting to put the list together of who would do that from a community side. Some of the suggestions they gave was parents, obviously, recent alumni, some of our career tech and higher ed partners, because you've got higher ed, career tech, how we're preparing kids for jobs or secondary, going on to post-secondary, and then our business partners. So I'm going to be working probably with some input from you guys as well on trying to get that 40-person team together and get some dates that we can get out there. I think it's going to consist of a couple 2-hour meetings, nothing too strenuous, just coming in, talking through some things. But we'll be putting those dates together and kind of that piece. They did ask that you guys as board members be observers on those 3 committees where you split up. A couple of you do the staff, a couple of you do the community piece, a couple of you do the student piece. And again, I'll flush that all out. I'm just kind of giving you the 50,000 foot view because right now it's just kind of laying out what this process looks like. The last part that they talked about was capacity and utilization. They requested all of our master schedules for our buildings from our principals to, the room, the layouts. They've got all the floor plans from Mr. Smith, and they're starting to build their own because you got to think we've got blueprints and floor plans they're old. So they're going to kind of recreate these to be able to use them, to be able to show some of the things that they come with a finding. Again, that on-site visit with principals is looking at every period of every day, every classroom, every day. how we're utilizing our space. They may have suggestions for us in the end that we can do temporarily. They may, obviously I think they're going to find that we're using a lot of space efficiently, but there may be others. They're also going to have a drone, and they ask us for our drone policy, and I said, we do not have a drone policy yet. Some districts have it, and talking with Bob Rose, kind of the township, as long as they've worked it through me, we're okay, and we were able to alert people that there's stuff going on. But they will be flying a drone several days of pickup, drop off, to try to get an understanding of, we've put some Band-Aids on things and we've moved things around, but I'm still not convinced that it's going to work long term. So they may give us some short-term solutions with, when you've got a civil engineer and they think differently than a school building administrator, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with there. I know they're going to see heavy traffic. They understand that all school campuses have heavy traffic. Our problem is you've got a thoroughfare from one road to the next that's only going to get more increased with the housing development on Linton. And then you also have a main artery, running down through the middle of campus that, when that backs up, that's not good either, which backs up 28. So a lot to look at and think about there. What can we do on campus? So we will be meeting with them again March 25th with the central office team and building administrators to kind of talk through some of this and really kickstart this at our April retreat with you guys and the administrative team to talk about that ed visioning piece. And again, I'll start to get some dates and we'll start to communicate this as we move forward. Questions on that? Hopefully I've laid that out enough to kind of give you the big picture, 50,000 foot view. As a reminder, this is a 16-month process, as we've said. Not rushing anything. We want to make sure that we, look at every option and get the information from community that helps us eventually make a decision.
I don't have any questions. You guys have any questions?
Yeah, sounds good.
I think we went with the right team
Yeah.
there.
They're impressive.
We did really well. I thought another thing too is they really well on the community team. Find people that are know the growth and stuff. Make sure they would love to have them on there as well. So that was good conversation.
Well, again, because we're not, at the start of this, we're not talking about a dollar number. We're talking about how do we improve education in Goshen, and how do we continue to look at our space and instructional practices. So, okay.
Thank you. And then the added agenda item, old business B, Board of Education policy, education review. I'm going to pass this down. This is a packet for each of you. And then I have a packet for you as well. So based on our last board meeting and some things that have taken place over the last month, it was recommended by our attorney that we actually do a Board of Education policy review and education session to address a few of the items that we navigated. So first of all, due to we've had a state reported ethical violation, we received a letter of grievance from our GEA teachers union that everybody's been provided via email before today, but it's also in your packet. And then we know of 2 students who had to leave the school day because of undue stress associated with mental and emotional strain that is directly related to school business, moving from our board meeting to social media. It's important that we consider how our board operates, I think overall, and everybody would agree to that. So I just wanted to point out some policies that maybe we could use a review in to make sure that we are following our own policies as we expect the students, staff, teachers in our community to as well. I do think it's important for our community to understand that these are public policies and you can view them as well. So they can be found at https://go.boarddocs.com. So really easy way to find them is Google Goshen Board of Education Board Docs, and it has all of our policies in place. So I put a packet together so that we can review the policies that are being suggested. So, yes, bless you. We have 9 policies to review. And then just to start out, the GEA contract implication was due to our complaint procedure and the teacher's contract not being followed. So make sure that you review the contract and we understand what is expected of us moving forward. First policy is BBAA and BBAA-E, which is board member authority. Just to point out a few things, individual members exercise their authorities over district affairs as they vote to take action at a legal meeting. So that's how we should be exercising our authority. I'm not going to read, it would take me all night if I read these, so I provided it in a packet. Just wanted to point some things out. Also on BBAA-E, there's point 2, 3, and 9 that I think are important for us to review. Avoid, board members' authority, avoid administrative decisions or attempts to second guess the administration. The superintendent is chief administrator and the board has no administrative function. It's is well acquainted with school policies, which these are included. And then 9, knows that the reputation of the entire district is a reflection of our behavior and our attitude. Moving on, policy BBF, school board member ethics. So in that, it points out what is unethical for board members to do. So seek special privileges for personal gain, assume unauthorized authority, criticize school employees publicly, disclose confidential information, withhold facts from the superintendent, particularly about the incompetency of an employee, consider complaints against a teacher that are not first submitted to the superintendent, and then announce future action before the proposition has been discussed by the board. Moving on to BBF-E, this is very long, so it is the board member code of ethics. There are various in here that I think are really important for us to study and be aware of as we move forward. Moving on to BCD, which is also noted in CB and I, which is board superintendent relationship. The board strives to procure the best professional leader available as its superintendent. The board as a whole and as individual members, and it points out 5 specific areas in which we are expected to engage with our superintendent, which I think has been really helpful as well as I've been studying the policies. Moving on to KL, public complaints. This is very straight forward about how to handle public complaints. We actually do appreciate constructive criticism. I think we can all grow with constructive criticism. And so everybody is welcome definitely to share any kind of constructive criticism. We definitely love to hear from our community in both positive and constructive ways during public participation. Please note that if it has to do with a complaint involving instruction, discipline, or learning materials, it first must go to the employee and then move to the principal. From there, the superintendent, before it should come to us as a Board of Education. Matters referred to the superintendent and our board may be asked to be in writing and are expected to be specific in terms of the action desired. So those are expectations. I actually thought that's really helpful because I, as a board member, I mean, I know all of you as well. Often people will come to us thinking our role is something very different than it is, and pointing them back to the teacher or coach or whatever that might be as to start there, and then moving up the chain of command is really important to hopefully resolve any concerns that our students have along the way, or parents. And then similar KLD and KLD-R, public complaint about district personnel, very much outlines how those should be handled and in the order that they should be referred. So those policies are extremely helpful. And then the final one, and I know this was a little out of order, but it's executive session. Executive session can be kind of tricky because, as you guys know, there's very specific points in which we're allowed to go into executive session. We can't just do public business behind the scenes, which is really important. But one of the things that our attorney recommended is that we do look at executive session, and if at any point in our board meeting, something comes up that should move to executive session, we just make a motion as a board, and I ask you guys as individuals to take personal ownership in that. And if not, of course, I will try to move in the direction to recommend that we make a motion to go into executive session if any of those 7 areas come up. But part of that education session will be a response to our teachers union to let them know that we did do an education session, and my hope is that we can talk more about these at our retreat coming up as well, and talk more about the study of them. Do you guys have any questions?
Good.
I think,
Thanks for bringing
yeah,
that up.
probably.
Policies are long, and they're not necessarily fun, but it is good time if you have some downtime to read through and just re-educate on important policies of the district. Moving on to new business A, public participation. Mrs. Scherzinger, do we have anybody for public participation?
No one signed up.
No one? All right. No one for public participation. So moving on to new business B. Todd, you're up with treasurer's report.
Okay, so on this, there's a lot of things going on, especially the state's now doing their budget, and I don't know how much you guys have seen on it, but it's a lot. I mean, it's really a great deal going on. So, and where we're at in our funding and stuff, it's very, very important, to reach out to our legislatures, let them know, our concerns on this. So it's a big deal. And I put our tax rates on there because those just come out. I just kind of want to give, everyone's got our real estate bills, and that's one of the things that's going on as well with the state and their budget, is they're looking at reforming, how we're doing with taxes. So I just want to just show you kind of big picture. I mean, and just so that you know that also, like, we're tracking about $3 million a month, like we've been doing on our rest. So I kind of just said, just so you guys can get a kind of a highlight on this. So this is the resolution you guys will be passing in the financial section about approving our rates. And ignore the first and second. I just throw that in there. I mean, and like I adjust it when you guys make it on there. So that part's on there. So that is the resolution. This comes from the county auditor's office, and it's attached with the attachments A and B. On A, if you can look, we get, try to trunk it. We get money from 2 funds. We get our general fund and our permanent improvement. Inside the 10 mil limitation, we have 4.6 mils, which is inside here. That's what this number is based on. The county will go through, then it'll say, based on the valuation of Goshen times 4.6 mils, this is what you can budget in your PI fund. Then over here is our 10 mils outside, $9 million. That's our general fund dollars. We're at the 20 mil floor. This 21.8 actually comes down here at the bottom. These are our last 2 tax levies that were ever on the ballot. 1971, the board passed at 18.2 mils at that time. 1976, 2.6. So the total is 21.8, which is this number here. You add those two together, that's the 9 million. So this is kind of our budget for next year. This is what we're looking on real estate taxes. And again, this 21.8, it rolls to, we're at the 20 mil floor. So over time, it rolls back on House Bill 920. That is 20 mils, not the 21.8. Does that make sense on that? So that's kind of what we use, like when we get into our real estate taxes, we'll put that in on the budget.
Okay.
So, on the governor's proposal, I'll just kind of read this a little bit here. They put in the fair school funding plan 4 years ago, and it's been phased in for the 6 years. And so now we're looking at